Good morning. Just see the numbers ticking up as Zoom lets everyone in, so thank you for joining. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. I can see the numbers slowly ticking up, but we'll make a start. And thank you for joining this webinar this morning. As you can see on screen, it's to discuss our new way of investing via EIS with Deepbridge, which is FlexEIS. Hope you can see me okay at the top of the screen as well. You can see my slight sort of a themed background, so I know I'm blending in with my shirt colour this morning, but at least you can hear me nonetheless. Um, You probably see top of the screen, it says Deepbridge Capital, but I'm Stephen Powell, the sales director here at Deepbridge. And we were looking to be finishing today, probably just after 10 a.m. So you may have seen the invite that says maybe up to an hour, but to be honest with you, this will be half an hour to keep it succinct and straight to the point. So um, look, please send any questions you've got. I've got a Q&A and should be a chat functionality for you as well. So if you do have any questions, please send it through and I should be able to receive it my end and hopefully answer them as we go. If not, we'll certainly come back to you after the webinar is finished. Okay, we'll make a start. So today's learning objectives. So as part of CPD, which everyone will receive a certificate as part of joining today. So again, thank you. Here's an overview of what we'll cover. So we'll start by explaining what FlexEIS is and why we've introduced it. We'll then discuss who it is ideal for, the key benefits, how to invest, and finally, a Q&A session at the end, as I've just mentioned anyway, but do fire any questions through as we go, and I'll try to answer them, keep it relevant to the slide that I've been on at the time. So if not, I'll address them at the end. Okay, so straight to it. What is FlexEIS? FlexEIS is a new and innovative way for financial advisors to help their clients invest in EIS funds. So unlike traditional approach of making a lump sum investment via EIS at the end of the tax year, we have launched FlexEIS to allow investors to make monthly contributions. This ongoing investment strategy helps provide, provides, should I say, the same generous tax release as traditional EIS investing, but with added convenience in specific circumstances. So we believe that FlexEIS will transform EIS investing in the long term. Rather than just being a once a year type of investment, you can do so over a course of months. And the idea of developing this came about because we had spoken to many financial advisors who asked for a solution that offers flexibility, hence the name that we've given it around investing, allowing their clients to make a monthly contribution. So this approach is perfect for those who want to create investment habits and improve cash flow management. So a question you might have is how do we offer this? So for those on this webinar that are familiar with Deepbridge and we've got a working relationship, you'll be aware of our USP is that we deploy capital on a monthly basis for EIS anyway. And we are the quickest provider on the market to deploy capital, and therefore we can be flexible, again, hence the name that we've introduced, to offer a monthly investment structure. Until other providers in the EIS space deploy as quickly as us, they won't be able to offer this service. So by adopting a monthly investment structure, FlexEIS helps build a diversified portfolio and reduce the time and risk, i.e. to investing towards the end of the tax year, and ensures consistent investment in high potential assets and a disciplined way of managing and enhancing clients' financial planning over the course of the full 12 months rather than it just being as I said, a rush towards the end of the tax year. So we see this as an opportunity to bring to the forefront of modern financial planning. It's not just an investment service, it's a potential game changer for the financial advice industry. So we're of the viewpoint that, again, being flexible is if investors can make monthly contributions to pensions and ISAs, then why not through EIS? So the key features of FlexEIS. So investors can start with a minimum contribution of £1,000 per month per fund. So this isn't an indefinite subscription until the investor cancels. Not to sort of downgrade it as such, but like a Netflix or your local gym subscription, this is a 12-month only subscription. Investors would need to sign a new application form to continue beyond this period. The tax reliefs remain very much the same as if the traditional approach of EIS investing via a lump sum. So I won't be going through the tax reliefs today because, again, if you're on this webinar, you're probably very familiar with EIS and how the tax reliefs work. So I want to just keep the focus on what FlexEIS is today. However, one tax relief I feel that would be quite worthy of mentioning is about CGT deferral. So although one relief that, well, the most of the reliefs, as you understand how that works, the business relief, for example, with the 2 year clock of when the shares are allocated, and the income tax relief is about the share allocation date. So a key thing for CGT deferral here, for example, is the share allocation date. So as we know, a gain can be deferred 12 months before or 36 months after the date of disposal of the asset. So with FlexEIS, it may be best to ensure that your client's final 12-month subscription payment plus 3 months to ensure the deployment falls within this window. So remember, the key date is not the date of issue. Sorry, the key date is the date of issue of the shares, not when the application form is sent or when the investor is in receipt of the certificate. And again, not to go into full detail for this today, but this wouldn't work with a knowledge intensive fund that has a closure date. So Deepbridge don't offer a knowledge intensive fund. This is a conventional EIS fund, and therefore, as I said, we deploy on a monthly basis anyway, which allows us to introduce FlexEIS. So investing into FlexEIS ensures a regular flow of EIS3 certificates coming through the year, which I'll give an illustrated example in a couple of slides' time. So to confirm, FlexEIS is in more of an investment model and not a new product as such. It's providing a new way of accessing our two available evergreen EIS funds of Technology Growth EIS and Life Sciences EIS. So on that note, again, for those that are on the webinar today, you're probably familiar with Deepbridge and our two funds that we have. But I'll just give a very brief overview for those that are new today. And you can see on the screen our focus areas and what the opportunity is. But for my part, just to go into a bit more detail of the two funds. So the Technology Growth EIS Fund focuses on disruptive tech, existing markets, new products. So underlying areas include artificial intelligence, which of course is a huge topic in the industry, what has been for the past 12, 18 months. Cybersecurity, generic softwares, which are all typically B2B type businesses. Companies in the fund are typically later stage, and they might be in the fund usually for a sort of second or third round with us now. And the next stage in the cycle might be moving on towards an exit. So typically the exit time frame I position this is sort of 3 to 6 years. So just for a bit of confidence, our latest exit was September last year, achieving 1.6x after 3 years, which is great news. The alternative fund that we have is the Deepbridge Life Sciences EIS, which targets innovation in healthcare driven by trends such as aging population and medical advancements. So due to clinical trials, patents, testing, IP, and the underlying companies do take time to create the value. This is arguably a slightly longer hold than a tech growth fund. So I typically position this in the more the 4 to 7, possibly 8 year period. So to confirm, both of the funds here are available via FlexEIS. Lastly, on this part, due to the quick deployment, we can provide you as an advisor with the matrix of companies currently open within both the EIS funds. This provides you and your client with the transparency as to the companies and they're likely to be allocated to. FlexEIS is ideal for clients who prefer to invest regularly and tax efficiently, much like their pension and ISA contributions. Naturally, to benefit from the available tax reliefs, this is suited to high earners, also to those with a risk appetite. So that's a typical target audience. I mentioned ISA and pension contributions earlier. So if you're an advisor on this webinar with clients who have maximised their allowances, that does then open a conversation as to what is the next tax efficient vehicle for them, especially key for clients who have tapered annual pension allowances. Other clients who are typically make annual investments into EIS anyway, they could use this service to set up a monthly contribution approach instead of making, as I said earlier, a lump sum typically at the end of the tax year. So how to invest into FlexEIS? I mentioned earlier about the minimum of £1,000 per month per fund. So to confirm, investors don't have to go into both of the funds. They can choose either, provided it's a minimum of £1,000 a month. And you can see the maximum investment we've written here, that's simply just down to the maximum of £2 million per person, for an individual per tax year, due to their allowances of what the reliefs can be claimed on. So all investment documentation, including the EIS3 certificates, is stored on the Deepbridge Secure portal. And again, those who've got a working relationship with us are probably familiar with it anyway, but I've got that coming up shortly just to show you how that looks. And administration is easy and efficient. And if your clients wish to increase or amend their monthly contributions, this can be accommodated with financial advice. So how will the application process work? It's very straightforward, and I'm just going to try something here is with my laser pointer. So to confirm, you can invest, as I said, into both of the EIS funds, or as you can see with my pointer hopefully on screen here, there's a box here at the end that says across both funds. That can be ticked. You've then got the option of the two EIS funds here, and then just to confirm at the bottom what the total monthly investment would be, and of course, just to confirm what the 12-month period would be. So from a payment perspective for the investor, they would need to set up a standing order or regular payment for 12 months, or even quarterly if they prefer. Which is very easy to do. I'm sure you've seen it yourself on the banking apps now. You can set up a regular payment process, so very, very straightforward to do. So we and our custodian, who are King Capital, we do not offer a direct debit service, so the client would need to set this up their end. For the application process, Deepbridge can issue application forms via DocuSign or printable paper-based forms. Very, very easy via the DocuSign version, which again, I'm sure you've used elsewhere or have used by now via PDF. So all parties get a completed copy of the application form. So just a note on advice fees, we do deduct this at source from subscription. And prior to even raising an application form, we can raise illustrations to display the grossing up amount to include your advice fees as well, to show what the net investment would be and therefore the full tax relief that can be claimed by the investor. So how does FlexEIS actually work from a practical perspective? So again, I'm just going to get my laser pointer available. So if, given the example here, the minimum investment of £1,000 a month, of course, being £12,000 over the course of a year, we've got month one, well, 12 straight months, as you can see, £1,000 invested. So what we would do is accrue £3,000 as a minimum and then make a deployment. So yes, we offer deployment on a monthly basis, but what we need to do is at least get a minimum of £3,000 before we do so. So if someone had signed up, say, for £60,000 over the course of a year, for example, we could certainly deploy £5,000 per month into a company. But the example I've got on screen here is just on a minimum basis. So a deployment would be on month 3 because £3,000 is accrued. Then as we get towards month 6, you can see a second deployment has been made and so on. We've got then deployment 3 and deployment 4. Now, from a tax relief certificate perspective, as you may be aware, the key thing here is a share allocation date. So once deployment 1 has taken place, you can see me hovering over this here. We then send off the relevant forms to HMRC. We assist the companies in doing so, our underlying companies. And then HMRC's typical turnaround is, as you can see at the bottom there, we've got 10 to 14 weeks. I've actually seen a record recently of 8 days come back. That's good administration on our part, but secondly, on HMRC's, the fact that they're actually getting much quicker at doing this process, which is great news. But typically the time frame we're seeing is 10 to 14 weeks. And I'll show you in the next slide how this will look on our portal. But yeah, as you can see, when the client actually sets up their subscription on month 1, it can be actually 6 months on this basis, but it'd be much quicker if they're doing slightly higher. Again, it is just based on a minimum of £12,000 per annum. So on the secure portal, how would this work? So here's an example of an existing investor where I've removed sensitive information for data protection, of course. The client here signed up for £18,000 over the course of 12 months into Life Sciences EIS. And as you can see on the left-hand column here, £1,500 was contributed per month. Now, the deployments, as you can see, here are the companies here, or here as well, here's sort of the code for them. As you can see, the deployments took place every 3 to 4 months, once £4,000 to £5,000 was accrued. So typically, this will be slightly less per deployment for the subscription amount, but the client expressed an interest to sign up for 3 years on this occasion. So they were happy for their deployments to be slightly longer rather than it being, say, every month, as the example I gave earlier, if it's a minimum of £3,000 that's accrued in the account. So this is how it will show on a portal. You can see the key date here is the deployment timeframes. That's key from the tax relief perspective. And what we can see here on the right-hand side is the crown logo for HMRC. So once this is available and can be clicked on, that can be downloaded. This is the EIS-free certificate. If this is blanked out and not accessible, then the EIS-3 isn't back yet. But as you can see in this occasion and this example here, that all of the EIS-3s are available for download. So a reminder of our fee structure, and this applies across EIS, whether investing, as I said, a lump sum at the end of the tax year or via FlexEIS. We do not charge initial or AMCs to investors at the point of investment. So this allows maximum capital deployment on the outset. And the reason what we do here is we actually charge the underlying companies after deployment has taken place. So uh, the benefit of us doing this to the investor is it maximizes their tax relief on the way in. So, for example, if someone did the minimum subscription of £12,000 per annum and you as an advisor weren't taking any advice fees from that subscription, the full £12,000 would be invested and tax relief would apply to the full amount. Just to confirm something I've not got on screen here is a performance fee. So the performance fee is based on a per company exit basis, and that is 20% above £1.20 on initial pound invested, because as you can probably appreciate with EISs, not all the companies will exit at the same time, so therefore there'll be staggered exits. So the performance fee is on a per company basis. So that's just going through the client perspective on how to invest, how it would look like. But benefit to you as a financial advisor is it enhances the quality of advice that you and the ongoing touch points. You can remain in contact with your clients. Quite often, I speak to advisors and they say, I'm not going to charge an ongoing fee because there isn't typically too much to do in an unquoted world. It might be 3, 4, 5 years before we see an exit. So I think here, it almost like adds the reasoning to put an ongoing fee in, because the monthly deployment, or sorry, the monthly subscription service that we have here. So again, it sort of perhaps not to use the word justifies, but perhaps allows you as an advisor to add an ongoing fee when doing this structure. And I feel this differentiates your advice from other advisors. Again, there's not another provider on the market doing this that can't deploy as quickly as us, and therefore a monthly subscription service isn't available currently because of the time frames that they have, which you may be aware if you're familiar with EIS is 12 to 18 months on the market, which again is not good from a taxpaying perspective for the advice that you're giving to your clients, particularly if you're doing carryback for income tax or CGT deferral. Then a quicker deployment is always more beneficial to investors. So just coming towards the end, really. So I'll probably only taken about 20 minutes so far. So probably another 5 minutes to go, just education and support for you as advisors and what this entails. It's the aftercare that we provide to you. And again, there'll be a majority on this call that have, sorry, on this webinar that have a working relationship with us. I've shown you the portal. We have in-person events as well. So typically we host those around the country, and they'll be hosted by myself, my colleagues, and other BDM colleagues that we've invited you to the webinar this morning. We host various webinars, not just those today, such as investment management updates and various ones. So do check our website for that. We do have a Deepbridge Academy, which is our sort of go-to for educational side of things, whether for EIS and business relief and SEIS. So we do, I don't think, on our website there is a link. It's probably quite hard to find, but if you just go to Google and type in Deepbridge Academy, it actually comes up first there. So that's a really good sort of go-to for those that are new to EIS on today's webinar and we're willing to learn more about how the tax reliefs work. I mentioned earlier about knowledge intensive funds, what the difference is. So yeah, please go to Deepbridge Academy to find out a bit more. We offer case studies as well, and generic guides that we can send on to your clients. Everything's available for FlexEIS as of last week. So case studies are available, guides, as I said, and even the product summary and overviews, as well as literature on our 2 EIS funds as well, of tech growth and life sciences, accessible via FlexEIS. And again, providing you with that assistance from our part, we can provide you with suitability wording as well in relation to EIS. So just in summary on what FlexEIS is. So we offer a flexible, tax efficient and growth focused investment strategy for appropriate clients. I've been through the appropriateness before of the clients who might be suitable for, such as those with tapered pension relief, those that are willing to have a risk appetite, those that maximise their allowances. As I said, there does become a time when the likes of EIS, even VCT that we're not discussing today, or even SEIS does become the next tax efficient vehicle discussion with clients. And we feel that FlexEIS has a really good opportunity to be part of that. And I think a word that comes to mind for myself is proactive planning. Why wait until the end of the tax year to recommend an EIS investment to a client when an investor can subscribe throughout the course of a year? So yeah, quite a useful option for them. And just to cover the webinar's learning objectives this morning, so hopefully you you can confirm that I've been through what has been discussed on screen here. What is FlexEIS? Why FlexEIS? The ideal clients that I just mentioned in the previous slide, the key benefits, how to invest as well. Been through that, and look, if there's any Q&A, I may just quickly just check. I have this, and so I'm just reading these questions now. I had a question. Firstly, after 12 months, what is the next minimum term? Is it 12 months? Yes. So the application form would be a 12-month period, and if the client's situation changes in that 12-month period, again, that they probably we've had it once before where the client got to about month 8 and then cancelled their subscription with us, which to be honest with you, it happens, of course, we totally understand that, but that wouldn't be an issue from us. This is more trying to be flexible, again, hence the name on our part, to allow investors to do that over a course of 12 months. Yes, with regards to the portal, just had a query on the portal. Can the advisors have access to the portal? If you have an existing client with us, yes. And of course, your admin team can have access to. Something I didn't mention is the client can also have access to our portal as well. And again, with your permission, we can get the client set up as well, so they can go on themselves, get the EIS freeze as well. So I've got quite a few questions here. Just trying to read them as I go. Can we accept payments quarterly? So yes, I probably had this question just prior to me explaining that yes, we can accept that. The client can set that up. So if they're on the minimum term, for example, of £12,000 for the annual part, they can set up a quarterly payment, no problem. So they simply get £3,000 straight in and then deployment very quickly. Absolutely, that is something that we can certainly accept. So what's the minimum that can be paid into each company? For example, how many companies will be investing in annual subscription? Yep. So the example I gave earlier, you probably saw, is we would try to accrue at least £3,000 before deployment's made. So that would therefore be into one company. And then each time we have £3,000, 3 to 4 typically, a deployment would be made into one separate company. So over a course of the 12K, typically it will be 4 companies for the annual subscription. I've got a couple more questions as well. Any literature? Yes, we do have literature. Again, we can send that through to everyone in the follow-up. Again, everyone will be getting CPD certificates, so maybe we'll make sure we include the literature as well. Where are the regular monthly contributions held before deployment? So that is held with our custodian, Kin Capital. That is safe and secure, and of course protected by the FSCS there, up to £85,000 as it remains undeployed capital. And sorry, there's quite a few questions come through here, so I'll certainly look to answer all of your questions or get your local BDM to come back to you. So it's good that we've got quite some good interaction here. I will certainly come back to all questions. So one thing I've got on the slide here. One thing I did forget at the beginning of this webinar, so my apologies, is that I didn't actually go through the risk warning at the beginning. So I know it's I'm giving it a reactive approach now towards the end, but hopefully from this webinar you've taken that Deepbridge do not provide taxation advice, and neither do I as a personal as an individual. What I've discussed today is high risk, and client suitability should be undertaken prior to recommending such a product, and everything I've discussed with regards to EIS is correct as of time of this webinar. So again, thank you for attending this morning. That probably takes us to just under half an hour. And next steps, if you'd like to contact your local BDM for further information, again, we will follow up with everyone on this that's attended the webinar with a CPD certificate, but also include the FlexEIS summary. Here are my details on screen here. I'm available as soon as this webinar finishes if you need to either send me an email or give me a call if you've got any questions. And the timing on our CPD certificates, we hope to get this with you within 24 hours, because where we put attachments to it, we need to do it manually. And it's good to see that we have had over 100 people register for this morning's webinar. So again, thanks for your attendance. I hope you found this useful this morning. And if we didn't answer your questions, I will certainly come back to you, or my colleagues will, and hope to speak to you soon. Thanks again, and have a good day.